when Janice asked me for this presentation, I thought about things that I really enjoyed, and being in a racetrack is something that I really enjoyed. So, question for everybody: have you ever enjoyed joy, speed, and learning all at once in the same activity? Right? I'm sure there are other activities, and I'm sure maybe Tim might disagree with me as a jet pilot. But to me, being on a racetrack is my favorite activity that combine all of those things. My goal today is to share with you why. Obviously, the joy and fun are very obvious, right? You're going fast. There's the adrenaline, and this is all of those things. They are pretty obvious. The part to me that maybe is not that obvious is the learning part. And to me, being on a racetrack, I get a chance to be on a racetrack twice a year. That's something that we started a few years back. And it makes me a better project manager. It makes me a better person. And it also gives me something to look forward to, right, as I'm going to the grind of life on a day-to-day basis. So to that statement of making me a better project manager, I'll share with you some of the principles in racing that I get to apply in life on a regular basis. So the first principle that you learn when you are on the racetrack is to look ahead. In racing, what that means, it means that your sense of survival, when you get in a car and the car is going very fast, your tendency is to look at the nose of the car and to look at the bumper of the car in front of you. And what you learn and what they will work with you on is to open your horizon so that you have a better idea of the entire environment so you can make better decisions. To me, how this applies in life is to always keep the big picture in mind, right? So when you have the big picture in mind, the decision you make, they're not short-sighted. They are decisions that are kind of encompassing like a larger picture. To bring this to this group, I was thinking of an example. When you have the big picture of the problem is, like if you're sitting on an issue with a number of engineers that you're troubleshooting, the big picture is to solve the problem, right? And when you have this in mind, then you realize your job is not to say the firewall is not the problem or the program is not the problem, right? You're able to kind of think about this and kind of really focus on solving the problem. So you spend quite some time initially. That's what you are being trained on. The next principle that they will teach you, and I have to look at my notes, is, actually, you don't mind moving on. Yeah. So this is a picture of me, obviously, with the helmet on. The thing that you don't see on the picture is how happy I am behind the helmet. So you can move to the next one. Okay. You can go to the next one. So first principle, look ahead. I'll stop here. First principle, look ahead so that you have a better idea of the whole process. The second principle that you start working on is consistency. Consistency and also realizing how small changes are important. If you think about the fastest drivers in the world, F1 car driver, think about the small wheel they have in their hand and the amount of the range that the throttle goes to. It's very, very small, right? They are able to go fast because their movement are very, very smooth and they are very intentional about their movement. Again, to me, in life, what that means, it means it's perfectly okay to set big goals, right? It's also perfectly okay to make big changes. But once you make them, you don't want to be flip-flopping, right? You want to kind of commit to it and realize really to achieve those big goals, it's about being consistent and about the grinding, right, on a day-to-day basis. So we talked about, looking ahead. We talked about being consistent and going to the grind. The next principle that you learn is, because the next principle is about taking things one step at a time. On the racetrack, what that means, if you look at a racetrack, you might have 20 turns that you have to go through, right? But one thing you learn is you need to break the racetrack in one turn at a time, right? When you're heading into turn one, your focus is turn one. That's the thing that you're thinking about, and you navigate this. The second thing that's important as part of this principle is as you are leaving turn one, you have, I will use a number that you guys will appreciate, 500 milliseconds to register what did I do right, what am I going to do differently the next time. File this in the back of your head, and your brain needs to shift right away to turn two, right? Your goal is to shift to kind of focus on the next turn. As you can imagine, this applies really well in life, right? There are moments where it's like My job is not the big project that I need to accomplish. My job is the immediate next milestone that our team needs to accomplish this week, right? Same thing can apply also in your life, also at home or anything like that. It's kind of breaking the problem down into section. And then, so we talked about, all of this previous principle about being ready, right? You have the tools to look ahead. You have a sense of kind of how to grind through things, break the racetrack into pieces. The last principle is realizing that even with all this preparation, life is unexpected. Same thing on the racetrack, right? On the racetrack, you might come in and you have the right tires and everything is ready to go. But for some reason, you didn't anticipate the temperature on the track. So now you have an issue with, your car, with the wrong level of temperature in it. I'll give you one example. I was on the racetrack. Everything was ready. Beautiful day. Everything is perfect. No accident, nothing. My camera decided that day to get unstuck from the windshield. So now I'm going at 120 miles per hour, but I have this camera that is just hanging, so now I have to be driving and hanging the camera. And the reason why they teach you this is to realize that you will have control over what you have control over, but there will be unexpected stuff and you need to be flexible. On the racetrack, what that means, it means that you try to not always be driving on the edge, right? You're not driving 10-10 all the time. Try to leave some room so that when the unexpected happen. I think the same thing applies in life, right? And to me, the way I convert this in life is, when unexpected things happen, navigate your emotion. Know what you had control over, what you didn't have control over, and also be kind to yourself, right? Yeah, it's not, this thing that's happening is not a curse on me, right? It's more kind of, this is how life works, right? I did my prepping and I'm able to kind of navigate the unexpected. So those are the 4 principles. Now thinking about this, those are some principles that I feel like apply in life. So the quick recap, looking ahead, going to the grind, taking things step by step and deal with the unexpected part. The last comment that I will leave you guys with, it took me quite some time in my life, and my circumstances got me to kind of very far in my life to realize, having a hobby and how that's important in kind of having balance between, working hard, but also, having something to enjoy, especially for the folks in the room who are maybe way younger than me. Embrace having a hobby, embrace having something that gives you joy, because that's very important in life. So this was my time. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening.